What a place. I can't believe I'm going to be sleeping in here tonight. Amazing. It's very atmospheric now. Wow. So today I've come to a village called Limpenhoe in the county of Norfolk in the east of England, and I've come here to stay in a very old building that dates all the way back to the 12th century. Unlike my bothy stays though, I will not have to hike through miles of mountains and boggy terrain. I can literally park the car right outside it. And that's because the building I'm going to be staying in tonight is actually a church, and it's this one right behind me, St. Botolph's Church in Limpenhoe. Don't worry, I'm not trespassing and I'm not doing anything wrong, and I also have permission to film during my stay. St. Botolph's Church is actually open to anyone who wishes to hire the place out for a night, and it's a fairly new concept called champing, which is obviously church camping, that was created by the Church Conservation Trust in order to raise funds to maintain these beautiful historic buildings. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, this church is called St. Botolph's, and it's named after a 7th century abbot who was recognised in the east of England as being the patron saint of travellers and wayfarers. Originally, it was just a thatched building with a low tower, but it was redeveloped in the 1880s, and that is the building that you see here before you now. Apparently, this ring-shaped handle on the main entrance used to be on the door of a church up the road called Southwood Church, which is now in ruin because the two parishes merged. That one was abandoned and this one became the main church for the area. There's a legend that says this ring came from the top of a treasure chest that was sunken in a pool called Callow Pit, not far from here. The story goes that two young lads put a ladder out across the pool and tried to hook the treasure chest out by the ring. They got it to the surface, grabbed the ring, and it came off in one of them's hand and sank back into the depths, never to be seen again. Of course, we'll never know whether that's true, but it's quite a good story as to the origins of this ring. Oh wow, look at this place. Can't believe I'm going to be sleeping here tonight. It is so quiet in here. You could literally hear a pin drop. Okay, let's take a walk down the aisle and have a look at where we're going to be staying tonight. So there is my bed for the night, all laid out ready, right in front of the organ as it turns out. That's quite crazy. They've supplied a couple of fleecy blankets, a hot water bottle, some cushions, and there's even a little bedside lamp there. This is so much posher than staying in a bothy for the night. And over here we've got a little table and some camping chairs and a cloth covering some mysterious items. Let's have a look. So, some plates, a bowl, cutlery, a cup, and a wine glass and a corkscrew. Now you may be wondering why there's a wine glass and a corkscrew here. Well, apparently you are allowed to drink inside the church, not outside in the church grounds though. Now, we've got some candles, but they're not regular candles, they are battery operated. Real candles with a naked flame are obviously not allowed because it's a fire hazard. You're also not allowed to cook in here using a camping stove, etc. This place only has a kettle apparently. So, I've spotted the kettle, but what's under the cloth? What do we have here? And they've also provided some water for me as well. Now, the church itself doesn't actually have running water, that's why they put a bottle there, but if I did want to go and wash my hands, use the toilet, etc., the village hall is also open to me during my stay. Right, now I've had a little look around, I've got to go and pick up the keys, because from 3 o'clock onwards, I have sole champing rights over this church. So I've got the keys for the church and this place is mine for the night. And look at these keys. They're amazing keys. So apparently one of those keys is for a door that's behind this curtain and the other one is for the main door in the porch there at the front of the church. And as you can see, the whole church is looking so much brighter now because when the lady came to give me the keys, she switched all the lights on and brightened the place up no end. Now I didn't want to do that when I walked in because I didn't know if they were conserving electricity, etc. But now that she's done it for me, it does look so much better. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the car now, get all of my bedding and get set up for the night because it's going to be dark soon and to be honest, I'm very cold, so I need to get some extra layers as well. Let's do it. So I've been out to the car, brought all of my stuff in now. It's very cold out there. It's wet and windy too. So I didn't really want to spend too much time out there. Now you can see I've got my sleeping bag set up on the bed now with a couple of pillows. I have turned the bed around the opposite way because the zip on my sleeping bag is on this side and it's just easier to roll in and out that way. So when I was talking to the lady who looks after this place, she said that it only actually gets used for services about half a dozen times a year. They call it a festival church, and for those festival services they bring in a vicar who looks after several churches in the area. But they do seem to have a lot of activities going on in the church though. They have like pizza nights and gaming nights and all sorts apparently, just so that this place is still used, which is great really. So you can see here a selection of paintings that I guess local villagers have made, and there's some key rings, some knitted brooches, and even some glassware there, and they've all got prices on them. And if you wanted to buy any of this stuff, then you basically put your payment in the donation box next to the door. So on top of trying to raise funds via champing, obviously every little helps, and these things are just great ways of making extra money to maintain the building. I see there's a rack there full of homemade jams. They look really nice. How much is one of these then? £3. That's not too bad for a lovely homemade strawberry jam. Incidentally, while I'm back down this end of the church, apparently this is an original 13th century marble font, and the door behind it is an original Norman door to the 12th century building. And this is a picture of the original 12th century building with the thatched roof, and before the tower was extended. The walls of the original 12th century building apparently had these paintings all on them. But sadly, when they removed the roof, a lot of the original walls fell down apparently. However, they are looking at maybe getting these original paintings projected on the walls, so that'd be quite cool. There's a sign on the door that says, "Please help us by signing the visitor's book before you leave." Now, that sounds very much like a bothy book to me. And there it is. And it goes all the way back, this one, to... wow, 1977? That's amazing. This visitor's book has been here since June 19th, 1976. I feel like I've got to be careful with that now I know how old it is. Anyway, I'm getting hungry, so I think I'm going to start cooking my dinner, which isn't going to involve much because I've only got to boil a kettle. Okay, let's eat this. Yes, I've got way too much bread there, but I'd rather have more than enough than not enough. I want to be nice and full before I go to bed tonight. That is amazing. Is the light out here still on? No, it's completely dark out here now. Give me a chance to use the chunky key, or one of them at least. There we go. It's still raining out here. It's not very pleasant, that's for sure. Let's go over to the village hall. It looks like the lights are on there, so I don't know if someone's in there. It's possible. No, I think it's just a porch light. It doesn't look like anyone's actually in there. So let's just set that down there. Okay. So this is the village hall. It looks really nice, to be honest. So I think the main hall's through there, where they have functions and stuff. And you've got, oh, is there a light? Very nice posh toilets. They've even put some flowers between the sinks there. So nice. Right, all washed up. Let's go back to the church. That is so impressive. Let's wander around the back of the church if we can. I love the decorations around the side of the building. They're almost like people. I'm sure they were supposed to be. Very cool. Some of them look like they've got hats on. So, this is the old Norman doorway. It's been stoned up. I was hoping to see an actual door, but it's literally just the arch where it used to be, but it's still cool. I can't believe I'm going to be sleeping in here tonight. Amazing. Is that a big water butt? I think it is, yeah. Look at that. That's amazing. What a place. In the chunky lock. There we go. Nobody's going to be coming in that way anymore. Now, every time I've walked up here, it sounded as though the floor's hollow in one point. Yeah, there. That definitely sounds hollow. I wonder if it's a trap door. Could be. The lights for the whole building are right down by the entrance. I keep forgetting. Is this maybe the switch for this entrance hall? Yes. It's very atmospheric now. Wow. Here behind the curtain. Make sure I'm still the only one in here. You've got a cupboard there that looks like it's got an actual front door on it. It's like the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So yeah, this is the little door that goes up the tiny tight stairwell all the way up there. It must be so tight and cramped in there. And there are apparently a couple of bells up there. Let's go back through and make our way back down. With those two lights shining right in my face now, it just completely blacks out the rest of the church. It's like a dark abyss down there. Let's get me torch and see if it can break. There we go, look at that. It's quite a good shot actually as well. Such an impressive building. I mean, every church is quite impressive, but this one in particular is very nice. So it turns out that these candles are remote controlled. How about that? You just have to get close to them and press on. There we go. And these ones, there we go. And they do kind of flicker like real candles. Very cool. Okay, so I thought I'd bring the visitor's book up here so that I could read it at the table. And it seems as though the very first Champion guest stayed here in May 2023. However, since then, most of the guests in this book are people that have been passing through, popped in to have a look around and written in there to say how lovely the place was and how much they appreciated that the doors were open so they could come in. The people that have recorded their stay have all said what an amazing place it was, how peaceful it was. Some of them said they've stayed more than one night. Many of them say they'd love to come back. I think one guy said that he's even been here 3 times, so it's definitely a popular place. Someone who came here in February last year said they had a great night. Thank you for the warm welcome. It was not as scary as I thought it would be, lol. By the way, it turns out the big heavy curtain over the small door here, up where I'm sleeping, does actually just pull back. I had thought that it was connected to all of these cables, but it turns out that's for something else. I don't know what that's for, to be honest. So anyway, this is probably going to be the most convenient exit to get to the village hall rather than walking all the way back down to the other end and going out the main entrance. And the key to this door is huge. It's almost twice the length of the one for the main door, funnily enough. Anyway, let's see how easily this lock opens. There we go, that was pretty easy. Oh, and it opens outwards. Straight onto a little picnicky area here. I don't know why this key is so long. It's only the very tip of it goes in the lock. That's hilarious. I love it though. It's such a cool key. By the way, when I said that there was a hollow floor here, and I thought maybe it was a trapdoor, it turns out, yeah, they're kind of like metal grates that go down under the church. Not very deep. Not entirely sure what they're used for. But that's the reason they've carpeted over the top of it, I think. Not quite sure what this tapestry depicts. It's hard to tell whether there's something good or something bad going on in that image. To tell you the truth. Forgive my ignorance. Now apparently this picture on the wall here, although it looks quite similar to St. Botolph's, is actually a drawing of Southwood Church up the road, where the ring on the door came from, supposedly. Anyone who's standing outside seeing me waving a torch around must be wondering what is going on. I'm assuming that the locals do know that people camp in here. I'm not sure if I'm the first person to have camped solo in here. It's possible that I'm probably the only person silly enough to come and stay here all on my own. Most people come here at least as a couple, with their pets or their kids, or as a big group. This particular one though only accepts maximum 6 people. That reminds me, I haven't yet talked about how you can book one of these churches for a night or two. Basically you just go to champing.co.uk and all the details are there. There's also a map of the UK with all of the locations pinned so you can work out which one's closest to you. Dogs are also welcome, but for the size of your overall party you do need to check on the website for any particular church. I think some of them are up to like 12. But this particular one, as I said, 6 people max, because it's not the biggest church, and they've got to put a camp bed out for for every single person, obviously, and there's not a great deal of room in here. So when it comes to facilities, you've seen that this place only has a kettle. However, some churches, being larger, do have their own little kitchen area, might have a fridge or a microwave. Some of the churches do have a toilet and somewhere to wash up inside the church, and apparently they are planning to do the same thing here. Obviously, they need to raise funds to pay for that, and that's what Champing is all about. Okay, it's 9:10 and I think I'm going to dive into my sleeping bag now. I've done everything that needs to be done. I am very tired and it's getting so cold now. I think I'm better off in that down sleeping bag, to be honest. Now, this is the part where I usually say if anything happens in the night, I'll switch the camera back on and let you know all about it. But nobody's going to be turning up and gate crashing this party. It is literally just me, guaranteed for the rest of the night. So I really should get a good, peaceful night's sleep. Fingers crossed. Morning, it's 7:10 now. I didn't get sleep straight away. I was really cold, to be honest. I didn't put the heating on. I thought I'd be fine without it in the sleeping bag. But that camping bed was just not keeping me warm at all. I could feel the cold air underneath me despite the sleeping bag. However, just in case that happened, I did bring my extra warm sleeping mat. And I'm so glad I did, because in the end, I just ran out to the car, grabbed it, inflated it and put it on top of the camping bed, and it made so much difference. And I was also very grateful for the hot water bottle that the church supplied, because my feet were cold and I decided to boil a kettle, get that one in the bottom of the sleeping bag, and my goodness, that made a massive difference. So in the end, I was like really snug as a bug. Right, I finished my breakfast, drunk my coffee. As you can see through that lovely stained glass window, the sun is actually up now. It's not quite the sunrise I was hoping to see, but you know, it's bright enough, so I think it's time to go and have a look around outside. And there we go. Keep forgetting it opens outwards. Okay, so there is a bit of clear sky. It's not completely murky. You can actually see the sun rising. Wow. It is so much nicer than it was when I arrived yesterday. And it was pretty horrendous throughout the night as well, so this is a lovely morning to wake up to. Fantastic. And of course, the exact moment I said that, it started raining again. Well, it was only a small break in the clouds that gave us a momentary glimpse of the sun itself. The sun is fully up now, and look at that beautiful stained glass window behind me. This is the time of day that a window like this shines in its fullest glory. Magnificent. Seeing the church like this is the cherry on top. Because, yes, it was daylight when I arrived yesterday, but it was very misty and looked nothing like it does now. What a building. Right, it's 9:10. I've completely tidied up. I've left the place pretty much as I found it. Anyway, because it was quite muddy last night, going from the village hall to here, I've given the carpet a good sweep off, cleaned it as best I could. But to be honest, I think it needs a little bit of a mop around the door, but I couldn't find one of those. Anyway, the only thing left to do is to put an entry in the visitors book. My writing is atrocious and I'm always making mistakes. But I filmed a night alone Champing in this lovely church, very cold without the heater on. But apart from that, it was a very peaceful stay, thank you. So it's time to unlock the front door so that it's available for anyone else who wants to come and visit today. Pop this back in the bag and give it back to the lady that looks after the place now, and that's it. Okay, it's time to say goodbye to St. Botolph's Church in Limpenhoe. I've had a fantastic time. What an amazing building. It's a bit different to where I usually stay, much bigger than a bothy. But this place is in the middle of a village and not in the middle of nowhere. So all I've got to do now to get out of here is jump in my car and drive away. What a bonus. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my stay at this beautiful church, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And there's also a new hype button, but apparently it's only on the mobile app. If you could tap that, that would help push my video out there, and I really would appreciate it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.